Okay, so you're buying Bell stuff, you're buying Barbour, you're buying a few jackets now. Once again, obviously, you're recognizing that there's a market for these things. You've seen Montclair. And again, another really good point you mentioned was that you were sourcing from different, like eBay Germany. I'm not even gonna lie. Around them times, I didn't even think of eBay. I thought there was eBay, maybe.co.uk.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking of that. It's another looking at your market, spotting where the
Exactly.
Really. So how do you go from that? And I'm sure it was seamless, but how do you go from, when everyone else was sort of searching YouTube for, Michael Jackson videos, maybe me, all right. Maybe not, it's a bit past, but you know what I mean, the latest hip-hop, the latest videos. I love Michael Jackson. I had a Michael Jackson day this morning. Anyway.
Me too, I'm a fan.
So now, people searching for music, searching for maybe not even, Charlie Bit My Finger. You've gone in and said, all right, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. How did that come about?
Yeah, no, good question. So now, maybe about a year or 2 years after I'm doing this selling, it's still going strong. So when was it? So this is now, we're now in 2015. 2015. No, tell a lie. So we're now like maybe later off of 2014 now. So I'm selling all these items, and I'm selling quite a lot of items, and I'm getting tons of jackets, like ridiculous. Well, over hundreds of jackets.
Yeah.
Well over that. And they're just coming in, and I'm selling them, and I'm coming, and everything's going really well. So I'm just like, when I'm taking the pictures and I'm looking on my photos, just looking at all the different jackets, I'm just like, oh wow, there's quite a lot of jackets here. Wouldn't it be nice if I could archive this? So I put it on like a WordPress. It wasn't WordPress. It was
I know the one, like a Tumblr or something.
Tumblr. I put it on a Tumblr. That's it. I put it on Tumblr. And you can get like templates to make it look like a blog or whatever. So I did that, thinking, that it would be a nice archive for people. And I bet if we still try to search for that, that page would probably still be around. But it didn't get there was no interest in it, right? So I thought, okay. I said, okay, well, maybe I'll put it on YouTube, and it would just be an archive there was no, I'm going to be a YouTuber, I'm going to review. There was none of that. It was literally just, mate, you've got a lot of jackets. For people who like jackets, they might like to see an archive of collections of all these cool jackets. So that's literally what I did. Get a jacket, do a quick review. But because I never intended to be a YouTuber or anything like that, I wouldn't even go on camera. Yeah. It would just be on my bed and just do it quick, and then no editing, no thought, no nothing. Just it's just about the jacket. Even the thumbnail and everything. It was just, I didn't even contemplate any of that stuff. And it's getting like 10 views a week, 5 views a week, and I it wasn't bothering me, because again, I didn't think of the concept of YouTuber. It wasn't even in my brain. It existed, I guess, but it's nothing like it is now. But
everyone's a YouTuber.
Right, more or less. Yeah. And the funny thing is, back then, if you told people that you wanted to be a YouTuber, they would really look at you sideways.
Yeah, like it wasn't really a thing. Like, what does that mean? So
you're
going to do videos and...
And? Okay. Exactly. Right. So back then, I kind of just kept it from everyone. So... after a while, just keep putting stuff out. I was getting like 30 views. The 30 views got to 40 views a week, 60 views. And I thought, okay. And then now what starts happening is there's this community there's these regular people that are regularly commenting and regularly engaging and enjoying the videos. And they now start saying, get other brands, try the items on because I want to see it. And you need to get on camera. You need to get on camera. So I'm quite a private person, really. It might not seem like it on the camera, but really, like, I'm kind of old school. Like, I don't really like being on the camera as much as that, and it doesn't come across like that on camera. But I don't really. I never even told anyone. I never even told everyone my name in the early days. It was the followers that came up with the name Hoxton. Because they were like, what are we going to call this guy? He never says his name. Like, what are we going to call this guy? So they were like, Hoxton. And that's where the name came from. So it just stuck. It just stuck since then. But I think so that was the transition. Literally, the 100 views turned into 1,000 views, and within 6 months, it started growing quite quickly.
Yeah. So it was very organic. Again, you just did it because you had products.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were selling them, but then you're looking at the secondary part of that. Okay, these are going to be sold and gone. But hey, wouldn't it be nice to archive these?
That's all it was.
I'm sure if I like looking at these,
that's what it was.
2 people.
That's all it was.
In the world who were also like looking at these.
Yes.
Again, so it's like you've got a product, and now you've at the time it's not monetizing it, but you've now managed to get a secondary life out of that product.
Yes.
So you're selling, but now
content.
Content. Again, when content was only a few people were doing content, I think I put up a couple rap videos once, but we won't talk about that.
Okay.
They're there somewhere in the ether.
Right. Okay. I might have to search for those now.
I'll send you the links for sure. So and that's really good. And then you said you started speaking to people again through your. Through maybe emails or messages, and they're saying, "Hey, try this."
Yeah.
You a name. So now you started interacting with your community. You're building organically. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I feel that people who start YouTube, I've started a YouTube myself, and very much so. I was like, look, I'm in lockdown. I've got all this stuff that I like. I'm into, magazine. I'm into, Let me start at least sharing it, because, and it's not really about now I want people to start follow. I do want people to follow, but it's not. It was more about lockdown. I need to be creative. I feel I'm a bit stifled. Let me do something creative.
Yeah.
And I think what's lost is that people don't understand that organic growth now. Everybody wants to click on the video, grow your YouTube followers fast, but it's little things. You were just doing videos, consistency, interacting with people when people message you. Because a lot of people don't really interact with the people that message them on their pages or and these are important things, especially in the beginning.
100%.
When, you want them to know that, hey, if you leave a comment, I'm going to speak to you. Or, so there's a really important lesson there. Again, make it organic, and also interact and listen to the people who you're not making content for, but by proxy you are making content for.
Yeah, no, exactly. I remember what really kind of blew things up is when the followers were like, get Snapchat. Because 2016, 2017, well maybe 2016, Snapchat was the thing back then.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is this Snapchat? I was like, okay, let me just get it. Let me just get this Snapchat. So I got it. And then I made a video called I'm on Snapchat. Something like that. And it's just literally me walking to the post office, talking about, follow me on Snapchat whilst I'm posting an item. And since I did that video, like on socials, the messages were just going absolutely. I was probably getting about 100 messages a day. It was ridiculous, and I would reply to every single message.
Excellent.
But you know what happened? I developed repetitive pain syndrome from the constant. Because I think I've got this natural nature where I just generally want to help. Like I generally want to help, and if people are messaging me back and they're asking me questions and thanks man, I'm gonna get back to you and But then I realised after about a year of doing that mate, like literally all my thumbs here were really, really sore. And I was just like, dude, this ain't sustainable, man. You can't keep doing this. I've kind of slowed that back down over the years. But back then it was bananas. Yeah, it was really good.
And again, you spotted that was an important thing to do. To engage with the community. You were building. Okay, so YouTube channels in effect. People are messaging you. RSI set in, you're going forward. And like, all right, cool. This is my community. Now, one of the super big videos that from your channel are the outlet videos, and like I said to you the other day, I think I definitely found out about the outlet from watching your videos. And I remember when I found your videos, I was just scrolling, and I was like, I think I typed in Stone Island most likely, and then I saw you, and I was like, oh, okay. And I started watching videos. Then my problem is if I like something. I'm a binger.
Yeah.
Started watching
Binging.
videos.
Loads of people did that. Loads of people did that.
Oh my God, I love a jacket. I'm like, that.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, hold on, I lived up the road.
Yeah.
How do I not know there's a Stone Island outlet?
Yeah, yeah.
So from that moment, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go find out where this outlet.
And you found it.
Well, I didn't need to go find out because you said that.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly where it was. So I went down. I just walked through London Fields Park.
Yeah. You was there.
I was like, don't.
Wow.
I was like, wow. And then
Sick.
I was like, okay, cool. This guy is, and I just basically since then have been a fan. So
Sick.
Just to give you your flowers,
Sick.
man,
I appreciate it.
camera,
I appreciate it. I
I'm a
appreciate
big
it.
fan.
I
still
appreciate
watch the
it.
videos till today.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Sick.
I was like, oh my God. No one's doing this. Like, as far as I knew, people were doing sort of street fashion.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you wearing? But
Yeah.
no one was really doing that. Really consistently going, here's a piece, here's a piece, here's a piece. And maybe they were, but they weren't doing it to your level. So, I don't want you to, think, stop now, but I'll give you your flowers.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
The outlet videos. Tell me, because I saw the video, I found the Hackney outlet.
Yep.
Like, how was that?
Well, before I get onto that one,
Yeah.
what I think made the channel popular before that was the fake versus reels.
Ah,
It was the fake
excellent.
versus.
Yes.
Everyone was coming for the
Yes.
fake versus reels, and the reason why I did that is because I now had this grudge with eBay because they had closed us down because of the Louis Vuitton.
You a counterfeit, of course.
But here I am, scouring the various marketplaces and sourcing, and when I would ever go onto eBay back then, I'm seeing fake jackets being sold. So I would call them up, being a proper African Karen, say, look man, this guy's sold a fake jacket and you haven't done anything about it. And they'd be like, okay, don't worry, that's fine, we'll sort it out. And I'll see the same person selling more fakes. So I was thinking, why close us down and we got the legit stuff, and then you don't do anything with these guys? So I thought, okay. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start now doing fake versus real videos because I hated the fact that people were getting scammed. I didn't care if people wanted to wear fakes, but what I didn't like was someone would buy a fake and then
Thinking it was real.
yeah, thinking it was real, or buy it to sell to someone to scam someone. So that's how the whole fake versus real series came about. And I don't think there was a lot of people doing fake versus real back then, particularly for like Stone Island, Montclair, Canada Goose.
Even now, if you type it in, it will be you and maybe Matt's Island will pop up. But still now, I don't really see it. Mainly
Yeah. I think a lot of these newer cats, they all do it on there's tons of content on TikTok and reels and stuff now.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's easier to do. But then, yes, after I did all that, and that's where I got a lot of traction from those type of videos. And then after that, when the outlet came, I think 2017, I think someone put it on a community somewhere that, there's a Stone Island outlet in Hackney Morning Lane, but we don't know where it is. So I thought, but I'm going to find out where this is. I'm going to go start looking. So then I basically gone off on a hunt, looking around, speaking to security guards from different stores until someone pointed it out. And I went there, and that's how it all started.
And as we know, these are, alongside all the other videos, super popular. I mean, again, your channel has just grown from strength to strength. And when was the first milestone, that you, I guess, considered a milestone? So would it have been your first 100 followers? Would it have been, I've now posted 50 videos? What were the milestones you were, as your journey was going, that you were actively marking?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first one is when I got 1,000 subscribers.
What a great day. No, it's a great day. It's a great day.
Looking back at it now, it's like, it's 1,000. But I was genuinely so happy that I had 1,000.
No, I'm with you, bro.
Yeah.
When I got to
It was amazing.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was gonna retire.
Yeah. It's like, wow, okay. 1,000 people actually are interested in this type of video. So that was one. I think when we started partnering with brands and brands started to reach out, like Matches Fashion reached out, couple of other brands kind of reached out and wanted to do work, and even a couple of stores. I think Aphrodite 1994 wanted to do some stuff, and maybe New Balance. I can't remember now. But the one that really made a difference was Matches Fashion, because we actually went to their head office when they were over in the Shard. So we went over there, they invited us down, so it was me and my business partner. And they were like, look, we really like the videos, we really like them, but you just need to raise the quality a little bit, you know? You just need to raise the quality a little bit. So I was like, they were like, look, we like you, when you do all of that, and also, where's your website? You don't have a website. I'm like, website? Why do we need a website? She goes, well, where are you sending people to? Well, how are brands like us meant to work with you? How are we meant to do placements and blah, blah, blah? I was like, oh, okay. So then my business partner was like, right, we need to get a website. So he kind of, we kind of took that into heart, but in a good way.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like we need to excel, because now there's an opportunity where brands want to connect, but there's certain things they would like to see us have in order to make those relationships happen. So I said to myself, one, I need to raise the quality, because I just need to get that up, make it better, look more slick or whatever I need to do. Then my business partner went off and he done the website. So I think that was one, because Matches Fashion was really big back then. They've been bought out now by Flannels, but back then, you know, they were absolutely massive. So even just being able to speak to them and go to their office and have a meeting, I thought for me was like, wow, we can actually speak, you know, to these big brands. We did some work with Ralph Lauren, and they did a dedicated page just for us on their site. I've screenshotted it somewhere, because I'm like, wow, that's Ralph Lauren, and they've gone and given us our own page. And it was like items that we selected from Ralph Lauren that we thought our followers would like. So that was a big deal. There's loads of different things like that where we've worked with brands. I think it's just been able to, like, even my business partner is like, man, I can't believe we're speaking to Harrods, Selfridges, Harvey Nichols, all these brands just because of this YouTube channel that we've grown. So yeah, those are a couple of big milestones for us.
So there's a couple of points I want to touch on, or one particular point, which was, and it also connects to a point earlier you made about your is that your business partner?
Yes.
That mentioned the jackets, or was that someone?
Oh, that was someone else. That was someone else. Yeah.
How, someone you know mentioned, hey, we should get into jackets, or maybe even with the Louis thing, you know, and you listened and you took that on board, and again with the brand coming to you and saying, hey, we like what you do, but maybe you should tweak a couple things, you know, and I think that's really important, again, recognizing that, okay, you know, because sometimes people go, no, how I've got it, no one can't tell me anything, and it's a bad way to approach things. You have to always be open.
For sure.
The fact that you're like, okay, cool, that makes sense. They've explained why, that makes sense, and then you've actioned it. So, as you're now moving from YouTube to now really, again, you've always been a businessman, but now this is sort of now from the YouTube, there's a new business sort of being created. So as you're moving through that and sort of talking to these brands, what were the real challenges that you had? Did you have challenges of, oh, we've not been here before, so we're not necessarily sure what we should ask. We know what we want, but can we ask? Or was it just, look, business is business. We know we'll tread with caution and we'll do what we need to do and then learn.
No, that's really good question. So I think the challenges is that the women's influencer market with the fashion brands was a lot more advanced than the male side. They were always telling us that, look, there's not a lot of male fashion guys that are covering the more high-end brands that you're covering. You might get a lot of guys that are doing more of the high street stuff, or trainers, but not really so much of the clothing. So it was really weird, but it was almost like they were unsure how to work with us. How does this situation work? So it was really credit to my business partner, because he had experience coming from Amazon in business development. He was also at Secret Escapes under business developments and sales. So really in that field, he's very talented. Like he was like a top salesman in those businesses. So when he's now come over and left his job to come and work at the Hoxton Trent, and I left at the same Well, I left before him, but he finally, jumped on board. He kind of devised a lot of the packages for these guys, the placements, and he was the one that was like, dude, we got to charge way more for videos. I'm like, dude, no one ain't gonna pay that much money for a video. He's like, yeah, they are. Yeah. We're gonna make them pay that much because we got costs, we got this, we got followers, we got this. Like, no, we need to value ourselves, bro. And I didn't really know or was not confident how to price because that's not my realm. Talk to me about clothing, cool, but all these business sales direct with people, you got to have patience, you got to understand your client, or he understands the psychology of it. So he devised all of our partnerships basically. And in short, how our business runs now is similar to like a media agency where we get a budget for the quarter. Whereas before we would literally just say, right, it would be this amount for a video and this amount for that. But my business partner was like, this is long because every time a new video happens, I need to renegotiate how it's going to be for a video. Whereas now, if we do it and say, right, we'll give you 3 or 4 videos in the quarter with a couple of posts and this and that, then we can come to some type of budget. So that just worked a lot more better because we get the cash flow up front. We can spend on marketing, and if we need to get a team in to do this and that, we can spend on that. And then we've got some left over at the end. So he helped to revolutionize all of that. And then from what we heard is now, because the relationships that we've built with like 7 Store, Louisa Via Roma, Harvey Nichols, lots of different Nike back then, although we don't work with them now. But the relationships that he built led these guys to go and work with other influencers in the same way. So really he came with a strategy that they thought, yeah, this works nicely for us, because they don't want to be negotiating every video either. They're like, oh, mate, we're just one little YouTube channel amongst all these other different things going on. So so that he basically he revolutionized all that. And he would always say to me that I can just tell they don't really know how to work with us. They don't know how the partnership will work. They don't understand the relevance of the videos. It's mad, but it's almost like these guys look at influencer marketing like an advert, whereas we're trying to explain it's not an advert. You're not buying space for us to say what you want us to say. That's an advert. We have an audience and we need to help. If we believe in your product, first of all, because if we don't believe in your product or service or what you're doing, if I generally would not buy it, then I don't see the point in me promoting it to someone else. And there's been loads of brands that have approached us and said, we'll give you this if you do this, if you do that. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really make sense because I would not do it myself. So for example, Vestiaire Collective.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so they're massive now, but they reached out to us in the early days, and then they were like, oh, so prior to that, I had bought an item on Vestiaire. I received it. When I received it, it was a really nice Moncler jacket, and it had this kind of, I don't know what it was. Like there was a line going around where it looked like there was a pull. And when the string pulls, it kind of tightens it, and it almost looks like it's a quilt stitch, but it's not. It was a rip, not a rip. It was like a pull. So I've gone back to Vestiaire and I've said, oh, it's got this fault, and they've got, oh, you can resell it on the platform. I go, well, I don't want to resell it on the platform. Seller said it was like this. I've got it like that. No. We've done our checks and that's it. You got to resell it on the platform. I said, look, that's not good enough. I can't buy something to now go and resell it as damaged. Doesn't make sense. They don't want to know. So I ended up keeping the item, whatever. So now, about 3 months later, they're now reaching out to my business partner. We've seen your videos. We'd really like to do some work. And so my business partner told me, and I said no. I said no. I said, how can I go and promote it now? And then our followers are going to go and buy something, and they're going to have the same experience. They're going to come to me. So I said, dead that deal. They wanted to have a talk, they wanted to have a conversation, and I just said no, because if we were not in this position, you would never want to, when I was the normal customer that you didn't know that we were doing this, you were not willing to talk. Now that this has happened, now you want to have a conversation. So I just did that deal. And that's happened a few different times with a few different brands.
Again, another great story, because all these little stories and things you're telling, you're hitting really important touch points, I feel like, within the business sphere, you know, and just again in life in general, learning, spotting opportunities. Here's another lesson for people, you know, again, life, but more we're talking about business here. Integrity, understanding that every pound isn't a great pound, or every dollar isn't a great dollar. He could have taken the money even though you knew that you'd had that experience, and then, hey, well, that's not my I'll say, look, you know, they had some good stuff, I promoted it to you, anything returned,
go back to them.
What can I do?
You
could have easily took that because, you know, the money. And I love that you know, again, integrity played a key part in you saying actually no. And that's why it's really important, I always feel, customer service, because again, you don't know who's on the other end.
100%.
Who's you know, on who could be. I might come in today to your coffee shop and I may quote unquote nobody, but tomorrow I might come in and I'm the biggest thing in the world, and depend on how you've treated me, depend on how I treat you. And if you treated me bad, I might just come in there. You know that you treated me bad, and now look at me. If you treated me good, I might say, you know, so you know, I really love that. Once again, you know, understanding the integrity. So now you're getting multiple different brands, and the business is growing. What are your challenges now at the other ends now? So obviously your challenges at the beginning are, how do we grow this? How do we scale it? What's the thing? Now that you're reaching to a point where you've scaled up, what are the challenges that you're finding, that you were finding at the time?
So I think one of the challenges is how do we take what we're doing to the next level? How do we continue to serve our followers and our community with great content? But then on the other hand, what's happening in the market is that all this stuff is getting quite expensive now. So how do you maintain talking about brands which are, let's be frank, unreasonably priced? You know, no one wants to hear about £1,300 Canada Goose when you got all these, you're getting your monthly bills of like 4x or whatever. So it's now coming up with still being able to entertain our audience, but coming up with different types of content. I mean, even myself now, I've just even kind of said, like, I don't even really want to cover certain brands anymore. I don't really want to cover Moncler anymore. I did say to my business partner that, look, anything coming from people want to talk about Moncler, I'm just not really interested anymore, because I've seen quite a lot of quality drops, so it just doesn't make sense. Even Canada Goose with the new pricing and the quality drops, I just don't feel comfortable. And I had to have a conversation with my business partner. I said, I don't feel comfortable with a lot of this stuff anymore. It's too expensive. If I was sitting on the other end of the lens watching in, I'd think, mate, this is great, but it's too expensive. So it's trying to figure out how we kind of work around that, maybe look at new brands. But one thing that I find with people is sometimes when they're kind of set on something, they don't like change, which I get. But I think people are going to be forced to change with all these new prices. Is to look for alternatives. So that's one. And the second challenge is that I think is we've spent a lot of time promoting, supporting other brands, other businesses. It's always, this person's good, this person's good. And I've just always said to myself, look, we just kind of need our own products and services, you know. We just need something for ourselves, because if this market ever changes, well, we don't really have something that we truly own, like maybe a brand or a product or, you know, a service or something. So that's been on my mind for quite some time. Ever since probably like 2018, I've always been thinking about that. But then I've just kind of stuck with what we've been doing, which is basically like a media company, I guess, or advertising company, almost digital marketing. But now I've said, you know what, this has been going on too long. We definitely just need to have, I would just feel more comfortable just having our own products. Like I definitely feel we're in a space now where if we had products, there'll be enough supporters out there that would actually want to buy products that we have if they're good and do what they say on the tin. So that's kind of like the next stage that we're in now with what we're trying to do.
And again, it's that evolution of, you know, you've been in a space for quite a while. You know, you've led in that space. It's about, okay, cool. I could sit here and just, you know, let everything trickle along, or what's the evolution? Where's the next? And
where's the next stage?
Speaking to you, your next thing is what's the next? You know, the pound to the £1.50, the £1.50 to the £1.70, the £2.50. You know, what's next?
It's got to be something next.
But I noticed that you're not a person who rushes things. Like you let it bed in, and then you go. Like even now, you're saying the product, you've been thinking about that for a few years. And I always think that's a great thing. You know, just to be able to think about something, but not feel that, okay, I thought that I must do it now. It's about sometimes giving yourself that time to breathe and really think about that idea, you know, because you could have said, all right, let's bring out a product and just say this. It's got our name on it, but it might not be the right.
It might not be the right product.
But now you know that when you do drop something, it's going to be like, that was considered. It might be 4 years, might be whatever. You know? And I think that's always good, because great ideas are great ideas. Sometimes you have an idea for a specific thing, as we probably all know. Every single person's had an idea, and they've gone and looked at it next week, and it's like, that was my idea. But you didn't have the resources, you didn't, you know, whatever. But generally, you know, if you're having these, you know, what the next thing is, you know, it's good to take your time and really build on it. So
100.
I love that, you know, you're thinking of it, evolution, the Hoxton trend, and what's next. So, I really love that. So with that product thing, do you is it a physical product, just without giving anything away, by the way? Are you thinking physical product, or are you thinking more another service type thing? Are you thinking
definitely physical products, maybe somewhere in the clothing space, because one thing I realized, because of the nature of the channel, we just can't come along and do merch. It has to be, because of what we do, you know, Lampo zips and this and that and this and that, and now you're just going to come with a Russell sweater. It's just not going to make sense. So so that's one. And then the other one is service. Well, it's a marketplace. We really want to do a marketplace, because for the longest time people have been asking, sell my clothes for me, or where do I sell my clothes, or how much. Like one thing about the Hoxton trend is we get all the queries. People come to us first. People will come to us first than before they go to the retailer. So what that says to me is that people have such confidence in just being able to get a support or an answer from us, that we are their first point of call. So if we had like a marketplace, for example, I'm really confident that people would want to use it based on the trust that we've built over the years. So that's the next thing. Those are the two things that we're working on at the moment, is some type of product, and also we need to build like a marketplace. I mean, at the moment we've got a Facebook community. We've just hit 16.6 thousand followers on there, but every day we're getting about 20, 30, 40 posts, all with people's clothes. And I'm seeing Grails, I'm seeing Moncler, like, mate, it's all coming through. And I'm just like, this is criminal, because as an entrepreneur, I'm seeing all these items come in, and I know that the Facebook is not really an efficient place to sell it, because you don't have e-commerce, you don't have protection, you don't have filters, and you basically just have to keep scrolling past this feed amongst a whole host of other stuff, irrelevant stuff, before you're finding the item. So it's just not efficient enough for what you want to do. So we're like, how can we build a basic, efficient place and get these items on there, so that people can basically sell their items, and we can promote that, and people can go on there and buy it? And how can we also make it safe? Because like what I've realized is, like, Depop, Vinted, eBay, they all kind of like vintage clothing, not really so much expensive clothing. There doesn't really seem to be an application for more of the premium end, because the premium end brings different challenges than when you're selling a £20 vintage top. People selling £600 Canada Goose, you now got a whole bunch of different challenges now. So I just feel that we're in a good place to kind of like to assist with that process, really.
That sounds really good, and it's a great thing to think of, because like you said, there isn't that, you know, I mean, there are, but again, there's not that one where it seems like it's made for you. So it's like, oh yeah, I know Hox, so I know for a fact that if I go in there, things will be verified. We know that it's going to be secure. It's that trust that people have in the name.
In the name.
I think it's a really, 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 a really good idea. So just before we're wrapping up, again, I just want to say thank you for your time. It's
been good being here, man.
Yeah, it's been really good, and I love the conversation. It's flowed freely.
Wicked.
So, and I hate to kind of do this, maybe it's slightly cliche, but people who are coming up and sort of thinking, all right, Paul, I want to just get into business regardless of what that business is. I guess sometimes it seems daunting, and sometimes there's people that might not support you, or some people that might poo-poo your idea. What's a couple things that you would just say to them, just to help them on their journey?
Yeah. No, this is an area that I like talking about. So I think, look, firstly, I think we've just entered this new phase now where people seem to think that things need to be done really quickly, and that it will be 3 months, it will be 6 months, it will be a year, and next thing you know, I'm a millionaire. I just find now that the expectations are quite unrealistic. So I think the first thing is your expectations. Yes. You got to get your expectations right. Now, when I started, I didn't really care about. What was interesting is I didn't care about the views, I didn't care about the numbers. It was just starting. Just start. No one's going to watch you in the early days anyway. But the amount of people that I speak to, and they're like, oh, I got to get the production right, and the sound, they want that first video to be perfect. And they're not realizing that the perfection comes over a series of processes. So you watch the first video. Every time I go back to I put a video out, those days anyway, I would always go back and think, I didn't like that. I don't like that. So the next one, I'm going to change it. Then the next one, I don't like that. Don't like that. Next one. So basically, you're using that as your kind of data to check how you can get to that stage where you keep leveling things up. And I remember in my head, I would always say, eventually I want to come out of the bedroom, filming. And eventually I want to be in a studio space. And eventually I want us to be working with these. I always would place it in my head where I would visualize where that's going to be. So it's understanding patience and understanding that if something takes 2-3 years, that's okay. It's better that way than something happens quickly. That's number one. Number two is people need to start with basics. People like to just go into the gym and start benching 150 pounds straight away. And it's like business. You got to condition your body first. It's better you go in there and you just do 10 kg on each side and you do that for a week. Are you going to grow? No. But you're conditioning yourself. You're getting yourself used to a place where I'm sitting down for an hour a week studying. I know that. Like when I was working back then, I would come back in the early days when I was starting. As soon as I got through the door, bam, straight on the editing, straight on the video, and that might be 2 hours before I even go and have something to eat. And then once I've done that, I'll now have to go and pack whatever items I've sold. So the point is, I've gone to work, I've come back, I've created videos, I've gone and packed up the videos, packed up stuff that I've sold for the next day, and then I'm now gone on to editing those videos. So it's just conditioning yourself. And the example of that is when I was buying these bandanas and long johns and I was making £1.50, 75p profit. It was really conditioning. Yes. It was really getting me used to, right, get on the computer, do the admin, check the sales, print the labels, pack the items, put a record, understand what your profits are, go off to the post office and do the same thing tomorrow again. Was I making mad amounts of money? No, I wasn't. But that whole process gave me confidence. I was now confident to maybe go and get £700 and leave that in stock. With a confidence that it will eventually sell, which was good because when I started getting the designer jacket, sometimes I'll have a jacket and it won't sell for 6 months, 7 months. But I had the confidence that it's going to sell. The right customer is going to come along. So it's just being able to work on the basics first. Don't try to go into the gym and lift all the big weights, because you're just not going to grow.
Yeah, for sure.
Start small, and build your way up, and have the patience. That's number one. Another thing is, I think a lot of people are looking for shortcuts. A lot of people are, there's so many people now online, it's like, oh, well, crypto and, I don't know, shares and, what was the other one a guy told me? Drop shipping, and then you got all these guys and they got Lamborghinis and they got this and they got that. Oh, follow me, course. Yeah. Like, we are just in an age now where people will try to distract you, people will try to deceive you. A lot of people are out for themselves. And although we have all this information now and everything's at your fingertips, which we never had. I was just telling a young buck, I said, look, he was saying to me, he's doing a business in shoes and he does everything himself. So I said, look, you're doing really well, but you need to now find out how to scale up. Yeah. How can it not be you in this equation anymore, that maybe you have a team, have a staff, even if it's very slow. I mean, you can hire people from Philippines as a virtual assistant to do all your admin stuff. So maybe you give them the admin stuff so you can do all the important stuff. And he said, yeah, I've tried, but it's hard. I said, okay. I said, when you went into Google and you typed in how to scale up your business, what did it say? Oh. I said, when you went onto YouTube and you typed in how to scale up your business, what did the videos come up? Oh. I said, the problem is now is that you guys, you have all these tools in front of you, but you don't respect what you have. You've grown up in a generation where you have everything in front of you, where a man like me and P would have gone to the library, have to get some
Wikipedias,
Where we gonna or book?
Yeah, book.
How are we gonna get mentors? Now you jump onto YouTube, you have the best mentors in the world, the best information. It's all there. It's at your fingertips.
And it's like we've got all the information, but we're less informed.
Right. Well, it's because we choose.
No, because we're distracted, like you said. There's a lot
distracted,
of
right?
Yeah, we're distracted.
So we have the information here. It's almost like, look, you've got the knowledge Bible here on how to get rich or start your business, but Love Island is on, so let me just look at Love Island because it's easy. It's easier, yeah. So that will lead on to my last one, is that it's so important to, in this day and age, to let go of the distractions. There's so many distractions now that people don't they don't want to sit down for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour and do some hardcore study. Yeah. Like most of the people that we respect, at some point they sat down and they done some hardcore study to get to where they went, where they got to. And if they haven't done that, someone in their team has and is advising them how to do it. So those are the things I would say is have patience, have realistic expectations. If it takes you a year, if it takes you 2 years, if it takes you 3 years, that's fine. But stick to it. Before I started the Hoxton trend, I would bounce around between so many different ideas. I'd bounce to this and I'd bounce to that and I'd bounce and I'd bounce and I'll do and things were working, but it was like juggling all these different balls and nothing was really popping off. And it gets exhausting because back then I thought, well, I can have that business and I can do that and I can do that. And I had energy back then. I don't have that same type of energy now. Yeah. But then I just realized that it's far more powerful for you to stick to one thing and put the effort into that one thing. I mean, look, it's so interesting. It's the same with trading. If you're a trader or an investor and you're using 7 different strategies in the week, well, then you're not really learning one. Some of the best traders can just use one strategy. They're just waiting for that one strategy and they've mastered it. It was Bruce Lee that was saying he's not scared of the man that can do 1,000 kicks, but the same kick 1,000 times. Yeah. So that repetition is very, very powerful, is very key. So those are some of my tips for the younger ones. Hopefully that will be helpful for them.
I mean, amazing tips, and I don't think there's a greater way to, you know, sort of inspire anyone. And you don't have to be kids like myself. I'm sat here and I'm inspired. You know what I mean? So it's
wicked.
not about whether you're a young'un or, you know, life is over when you're dead.
Yeah,
So
true, it's true.
It's not, so
You can always learn something new.
it's like, you know, there's always something you can learn. So that was beautifully put, really well explained, and I can tell that it's something close to your heart. You spoke about it. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
just want to say, really appreciate those.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
I'm gonna itemize those lessons there because they were really good. All right, Hox, this has been great, man.
Yes.
Super amazing. Super
Likewise.
informative.
Likewise.
I've been wanting to do this for ages.
I appreciate you, man. We
know,
finally got it together.
One of my, you know, YouTube heroes.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
can I say?
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate
and, you know, again, I appreciate the help you've given me as well. You know, like you guys would have seen, like I did a video with Hox, like he invited me down. He didn't need to do that. And again, it's that time, and you know, you can tell by the way he speaks and the information he's given that, you know, he's a person who has time. Not as in he's got all the time in the world, but he has time to give to people. You know, and you know, I appreciate it because believe it or not, it's not a very common thing. Like you said, people are out for themselves.
Sometimes.
It's not always genuine. So,
Yeah.
again, 100% thank you.
It's a blessing, man.
This has been amazing.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Speak for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this. This has been another episode, or the first interview episode of, and also I've been with the legendary Hoxton Trend, looking flying this beautiful. Guys, if you feel this, you know, I won't get
£36 outlet sale.
don't matter, it's beautiful, soft as hell. Fly as always, informative,
Yes.
great energy, and yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Look after yourself. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Peace.